Don't pay a quarter, don't pay a dime, don't pay a penny, don't waste your time. If half a penny is all he asks, don't give him any. Lay off his tracks, my half a penny is what he'll say. Still a steep price, just walk away.
In the morning, Hit Nation, folks, Fouquets, and everything in between and beyond. My name is Roy, the host of these PostGame Pennies. Heat lose 118-108 against the Mavericks on the road and go down to 14-8 and 4-6 on the road. It was the best of games. It was the worst of games. Well, the Heat started with about, 6 straight points, went up to 8 points difference against Dallas. Kind of maintained that energy throughout first quarter and the start of the second quarter. And then everything went to poop. The coin flipped. Dallas is now blocking more than Miami by a small margin, I think of 1. Out-rebounding Miami by 9. Most importantly, out-shooting and field goal percentage from both beyond the arc and close range or mid-range, rather, right? Heat fight back. They do cut the lead down. They do start playing defense again. I do have to reach here for my informational thing. And they do overcome what was about, an 18-point deficit. And then they cut it to about 10, 9. And then it kind of stayed at 10. And then they just couldn't do it. They couldn't do anything. Offensive rating for the Miami Heat in this game was 106.9 versus 116.5 to Dallas. The defensive rating was 129.7 to Miami versus 119.5. It wasn't as there wasn't, the 10-point difference was mainly built in that second quarter run. So basically, they out-rebounded us by 9, 50-41. They out-assisted us by 2, 31-29. They had 11 steals to their 6. We had 5 blocks. They had 7. So they outblocked us by 2. They had 13 turnovers. We had only 10 turnovers, let's say. But our field goal percentage was at 39, and theirs was hovering above 50. Our 3-point percentage went back to 29%, about 30%, or under 30% rather, and theirs was at 50. And I think that is a very important thing to mention, because when we're looking at the situation of the Miami Heat shattering the record, right, in one game, and then all of a sudden being under the record, under the record, all of a sudden being in the same category as they were previously, doesn't really help them at all, because that's what I said. That 24, obviously the 24 made threes is an outlier, but shooting that well beyond the arc was also an outlier. We've been having this issue, and we can't pinpoint it to Hero's return, but then we also have to admit that that also coincides with Powell not being in the game. He wasn't in the game the first time. Hero had an awesome, like I said, plus minus. We showed it in the previous video. This time around, that wasn't the case. Points in the paint, Miami had actually 56-44, so not bad at all. Second chance points, we had 24-10. Fast breaks point, they had 19-14, but we still had such low field goal percentage after that second quarter blunder that we couldn't return. And I think this shows here on the box score, right? Pelle Larsson, who had 1 out of 5 field goals made. Andrew Wiggins, 4 out of 18. And we have to talk about Andrew Wiggins because Andrew Wiggins had the ball more than Tyler Hero. And I think a lot of people here wanted that. And I don't think that worked out, did it? Bam Adebayo was 10 for 19. So it's not Bam Adebayo's fault necessarily. And Hero was 8 for 17. So that's not helping my case at the same time. But it was 47% shooting versus 22% from Wiggins. And Wiggins had the ball more. Mitchell, 2 out of 7. Jaquez, missing shots that he'd been making all season, 3 out of 10. Simone Fontecchio, kind of more or less at his range because he played more minutes. 2 out of 8, and Drew Smith 2 out of 4. I don't think I'm missing anybody more. Oh yeah, no, I'm missing somebody very significant because then we have Khalil Ware, 8 out of 11, finally making a case for my case for him to go back to the starting lineup and against Wiggins. And Nikola Jovic with 0 out of 2. So I mean, guys, it is what it is, right? When we talk about the other stats, we have Pelle Larson with 0 rebounds, right? 4 points, 2 personal fouls, no turnovers, no blocks, no steals, 3 assists, no rebounds, minus we can talk about that later. Andrew Wiggins with 11 points, 2 personal fouls, 1 turnover, 1 block, 1 steal, 5 assists, and 6 rebounds. Bam Adebayo with 21 points, 1 personal foul, 1 turnover, no blocks, 1 steal, 1 assist, and 7 rebounds. One of those offensive. 3 offensive rebounds, by the way, to Andrew Wiggins. So that is, that counts in his favor, of course. Tyler Hero had 20 points with 0 personal fouls, 2 turnovers, 2 steals, no blocks, no assists, 4 rebounds, one of those offensive. Davion Mitchell had 4 points, 1 personal foul, no turnovers, blocks, 4 steals, nine assists, and 1 defensive rebound. Jaime Jaquez had 10 points, 1 personal foul, 2 turnovers, no blocks, 4 steals, though, right? 3 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 of those offensive. Simone Fontecchio had 8 points, 0 personal fouls, 1 turnover, 1 block, 1 steal, 2 assists, 3 defensive rebounds. Drew Smith had 8 points, 3 turnovers, no blocks, 1 steal, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 of those offensive. And Khalil Ware had 22 points, 3 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, 1 block, 1 steal, 2 assists, and 10 rebounds, 4 of those offensive. And then Nikola Jovic, almost with donuts, he had 1 steal and 2 defensive rebounds. Now, the part that I think obviously is more not staggering, but more, or not even surprising, we really played under our abilities. -11 to Pelle Larson, -6 to Andrew Wiggins, -6 to Bam Adebayo, -5 to Tyler Hero, -9 to Davion Mitchell, 5 a positive, a plus to Jaime Jaquez, 3 out of 10, but still he had those, 4 steals, right? -2 to Simone Fontecchio, -1 to Drew Smith, and -8 to Nikola Jovic. Khalil Ware with a -7 is where it makes me not understand the plus minus, because I always say, oh, it's a minus. It must be because of the fouls. It must be because of the field goal percentage. It must be because I don't know what it is. It's such a complicated formula. I'm not going to pretend that I know. But what I am going to pretend that I know is that this was a game in which Hero was supposed to be the number one option for us, but it kind of turned into a Wiggins debacle. And you could see Wiggins coming in for Hero at times, especially through the first half. But that just didn't, the offense flowed very well in the beginning. So once Dallas adjusted, and Dallas is a great defensive team, as we were blocking, they were blocking our shots too in the beginning of the game. We just couldn't fight against them. And what happens is, again, this Miami Heat is going to make you pay if you don't score. But they did score, and you can definitely say that it's mainly because you had a couple of players there that they were really outliers. If I can take a look at in their size, for example, Cooper Flag, right, with 22 points. Najee Marshall with 18, AD with 17, Klay Thompson with 17, Nembhard with 15, destroying us at that point that we kind of were the creator, the greatest separation. I think Nembhard was very much there. They just had a great game, an amazing game, and we decided that we're not going to play defense anymore in the second quarter. We began to play defense again in the third quarter, toward the end of the third quarter, the beginning of the fourth, and then we just said, this is just going to be one of those games. We just give up. Obviously not. The competence in Dallas. Dallas is a great team. I don't think we see it because of all the issues that have been surrounding them, but they do have great scorers, and their defense is great. Their pace is great. But they outplayed us and we underplayed ourselves. That's it. Nothing else to say. Disappointing? Absolutely. Acceptable? I mean, come on. It's a long season, right? We'll see when it stops being acceptable. But thus far, it is acceptable. And it's not Heroes' fault. Stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, and stay as happy as possible. It's a very complicated world of ours. Let's go Heat.